Get ready to explore a place so surreal, it feels like nature's wildest dream. This isn't your average travel video. This is 15 mind-blowing facts about New Zealand, the world's most eccentric country. From glowworm galaxies to legal rivers and flightless birds, these aren't just facts. They're windows into a land where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Let's uncover the magic. One mind-blowing fact at a time. Number 1. The land where birds forgot to fly. New Zealand is one of the only places on Earth where birds simply gave up flying. Why? Because for millions of years, this land had no predators, no snakes, no foxes, nothing to fear. So nature hit the pause button on flight. The kiwi, a national icon, looks more like a fuzzy pear with legs than a bird. It doesn't soar. It waddles through the forest at night, using its long beak to sniff out bugs in the soil. Then there's the kakapo, a parrot so heavy and awkward that it flaps its wings, just for balance. But these birds are more than strange creatures. They're living proof of how peace shapes evolution. They're fragile, rare, and deeply loved. Kiwis call themselves kiwis in honor of this humble, flightless bird. In a world that worships speed and strength, New Zealand's birds remind us that survival can also look like gentleness, stillness, and staying close to the ground. Number 2. A country where sheep rule the land. In New Zealand, sheep aren't just livestock. They're part of the national identity. With around 5 sheep for every 1 person, these woolly wanderers outnumber humans by the millions. Drive through the countryside, and it's like watching clouds drift across green hills, except they're alive and baaing. But this isn't just about numbers. Sheep farming shaped New Zealand's economy, history, and way of life. It's not unusual to see farmers rounding them up with drones, dogs, or even helicopters. And let's not forget Shrek, the sheep who became a national celebrity after hiding in caves for 6 years to avoid shearing. When he was finally found, his fleece weighed more than 60 pounds. People laughed, but also fell in love. In a way, the sheep here symbolize something deeper. A slower pace of life, a connection to the land, and a pride in tradition that still thrives in a modern world. Where other countries have skyscrapers, New Zealand has pastures, and it wears that proudly. Number 3. The town with the world's longest name. It almost sounds like a joke, but it's very real. Nestled in the rolling hills of New Zealand, North Island is a place with a name so long most locals just laugh and shorten it. Ready? It's called Taumatauhakatangi Hangakoawawo Tamate Ap Okai Wenua Kitan Natahu. That's 85 letters, yes, 85, and it holds the record for the longest place name in the world. But behind this tongue twister is a beautiful story. The name tells the tale of a legendary Maori warrior, Tamatea, who played a mourning flute here after losing his brother in battle. The hill where he stood became sacred, not because of war, but because of love, music, and memory. That's the magic of Maori culture. Even geography becomes storytelling. Most people can't pronounce the full name, and that's okay. Because what matters isn't saying it perfectly, it's understanding what it represents. A deep respect for ancestors, for emotion, and for the land itself. In New Zealand, even a hill can carry a legacy. And sometimes, that legacy is too big to fit into just one word. Number 4. A glowworm galaxy, hidden beneath the earth. Imagine walking into a cave so dark that you can't see your own hand. Then suddenly, above your head, it happens. Thousands of tiny blue lights flicker to life, like you've stepped into a galaxy that's been hiding underground. This isn't sci-fi. This is New Zealand's Waitomo glowworm caves, one of the most surreal natural wonders on Earth. These aren't just any glowworms. They're a special species found almost exclusively in New Zealand. Hanging from cave ceilings, they produce a blue bioluminescent light to lure insects, and in doing so, they create what looks like a dreamscape of floating stars. Silent boat rides glide through the cave's underground river, and visitors are asked to whisper, if speak at all. The moment is sacred. You don't just see the lights, you feel them. What makes this truly eccentric isn't just the glow, it's the stillness. No talking, no phones, no distractions. Just darkness, water, and light. In a noisy world, these caves are a rare invitation to just be quiet and stare and wonder. It's nature's theater, and no special effects could compete. Only New Zealand could turn a bug's glow into a magical experience that humbles the soul. Number 5. Where volcanoes and lakes live, side by side in peace. In most countries, volcanoes are seen as ticking time bombs, danger zones best kept far, away from civilization. But in New Zealand, they are neighbors, friends even. Here, ancient volcanoes sit quietly beside sparkling lakes, creating a landscape that feels like it shouldn't exist. But it does, and it's stunning. Take Lake Taupo, for example. It's the size of Singapore, and from a distance, it looks like any peaceful lake. Calm waters, mountain views, kids skipping stones. But what most visitors don't realize is that they're standing inside one of the largest supervolcanoes on Earth. The lake itself is the collapsed caldera from a massive eruption thousands of years ago, an eruption so huge it changed the global climate and turned the skies red as far away as China. Yet today, it's serene. Families picnic along its shores, tourists fish for trout, paddleboards drift lazily across the water. The danger sleeps, and life carries on, side by side with ancient fire. That's the New Zealand way, respecting nature's power, but also learning to live with it instead of against it. It's humbling to know that something so peaceful was once so destructive. It reminds us that beauty often rises from chaos. And in New Zealand, even a volcano can become a sanctuary. Number 6. Home of the world's only alpine parrot, the mischievous key. High in the snow-covered peaks of New Zealand's southern Alps lives a bird that breaks every rule you thought parrots followed. Meet the key, the world's only alpine parrot. Yes, a parrot. In the snow. And not just surviving, it's thriving, playing, and most of all, for causing trouble. With its olive green feathers and flashes of orange under its wings, the key may look graceful in flight, but don't be fooled. These birds are feathered geniuses with a wild sense of humor. Locals will tell you, if you park your car in the mountains, check your windshield wipers. Keys love to rip them off. They'll unzip your backpack, steal your lunch, and if you're not careful, fly off with your keys just for the fun of it. But behind the mischief is a stunning level of intelligence. Keys are problem solvers. They've been seen working together to unlock food containers, playing games, and even grieving their dead. That's right, these pranksters have a sensitive side too. Their personalities are so strong, each one feels like a little snowbound character straight out of a Pixar film. Sadly, their curiosity often brings them into danger, interacting with human trash or chewing on toxic rubber. Conservationists now fight to protect these clever clowns of the cold, knowing that losing the Kia would be losing a spark of magic that makes the mountains feel alive. Only New Zealand could be home to a parrot who thrives in ice and snow, and still finds time to play tricks on tourists. Number 7. Where rugby isn't just a sport, it's a national soul. In New Zealand, rugby isn't just a game, it's a heartbeat. From dusty schoolyards to world-class stadiums, the sport pulses through every corner of the country like a shared rhythm. It's not about fame or money, it's about pride, unity, and a spirit that refuses to back down. The moment you see the All Blacks, New Zealand's legendary national team, perform the haka, you feel it. It's not just a pre-match dance, it's a war cry, a tribute. A thunderous expression of Maori heritage that shakes the ground and stirs the soul. Young boys and girls grow up not just wanting to play rugby, but to become part of something bigger. Rugby clubs double as community hubs. Towns gather not only to cheer, but to connect. It brings together people of every background, every age, every walk of life. The muddy boots, the bruises, the roars from the stands, these are rites of passage, badges of belonging. And yet, the All Blacks are not just admired for their skill, they're revered for their humility. They clean their locker rooms after games. They speak with quiet confidence. In a world of ego-driven sports culture, New Zealand's approach feels refreshingly grounded. Rugby here is poetry in motion, written in grit and grace. It's the only place in the world where a sport feels like a soul, and every match is a reminder of who they are. Number 8. New Zealand's national parks are so pure, they feel otherworldly. Some countries have parks. New Zealand has entire worlds. Step into any of its 13 national parks, and you won't feel like you're just in nature. You'll feel like you've crossed into another dimension. From ancient rainforests and misty fjords to golden beaches and volcanic plateaus, the variety is almost unreal. But what truly makes these places magical isn't just their beauty, it's how untouched they feel. They're not polished for tourism. They're preserved with reverence. Take Fiordland National Park, for instance. It's one of the wildest, most dramatic landscapes on Earth, home to plunging cliffs, glassy waters, and skies that seem to press down with ancient silence. And yet, it's barely changed in thousands of years. You don't just visit Fiordland, you surrender to it. Some spots are only accessible by boat or multi-day hikes, and that's on purpose. New Zealand believes that some beauty should be earned, not consumed. Even more astonishing? These parks aren't just protected, they're loved. Locals treat them with deep respect, often leaving no trace, planting native trees or helping with conservation. It's not uncommon to hear a child correct an adult for stepping off a trail. That's how deeply ingrained the guardianship of nature is here. In a world where wild spaces are shrinking, New Zealand's national parks remind us that nature, when honored instead of conquered, gives us back something far more precious than scenery. It gives us a sense of belonging to the earth again. Number 9. A place where you can stand in tomorrow before the world. There's something poetic about being the first. And in New Zealand, you can literally watch the sun rise on the world before almost anyone else. The East Cape of New Zealand's North Island is among the first places on Earth to see the sunrise each day. And for those who witness it, the moment feels almost spiritual. Imagine standing on a quiet cliff as the sky turns from indigo to gold. Waves crashing below, the wind cold but full of promise. In that moment, you're not just watching a sunrise, you're watching the sunrise, the very beginning of a brand new day for the planet. No skyscrapers, no traffic, just you, the ocean, and the endless potential of morning. For the Maori people, this isn't just geography, it's sacred. The rising sun carries deep cultural meaning tied to creation, renewal, and life cycles. The East Cape is not just a scenic viewpoint, it's a spiritual landmark. Tourists who come here often describe it as life-changing. It's not about snapping the perfect Instagram shot. It's about feeling humbled by the Earth's rhythm. When you're the first to see the light, you're reminded how small you are. And yet, how connected you are to something so much bigger. Only in New Zealand could watching the sunrise feel like a sacred ceremony between you and the universe. Number 10. New Zealand. Once had a legal wizard on the government payroll. No, this isn't folklore or fantasy, it's a real, official job title. For over 2 decades, New Zealand had an actual government-appointed wizard, complete with robes, a staff, and a booming voice that echoed through city squares. His name? Ian Brackenbury Channel. But to the public, he was simply the Wizard of New Zealand, a beloved figure who blurred the line between performance, philosophy, and national identity. He wasn't hired to cast spells or summon dragons, but rather to challenge the status quo, to bring color, wit, and creativity to public life. He gave eccentric speeches, debated with tourists, danced in the rain, and even performed rituals to bring rain to Australia during a drought. And believe it or not, he received an annual salary from the Christchurch City Council because they believed that imagination was worth funding. In a world that often pushes conformity, New Zealand embraced a man who dared to be outrageously different. People didn't just accept him, they loved him. Tourists would travel miles just to hear him speak or pose for a photo under his wide-brimmed hat. His story reminds us of something beautiful, that not all countries take themselves too seriously. Some, like New Zealand, understand that a touch of madness can be magic. In the land of volcanoes and flightless birds, why wouldn't there be a wizard too? Number 11. A land where a tree has legal guardians like a celebrity. In most countries, trees are just part of the scenery. But in New Zealand, one particular tree has been treated with the reverence of a national treasure. Meet Taina Mahuta, or Lord of the Forest. A giant kauri tree so ancient and majestic, it feels more like a presence than a plant. Located deep in the Waipua forest, this towering tree is believed to be over 2,000 years old. That means it started growing before the Roman Empire reached its peak. Standing beneath it is like standing in front of a green cathedral. Its trunk is massive, over 50 feet around, and its canopy seems to hold the sky. But it's not just the size that moves people. It's the feeling. the silence that surrounds it. The sacred hush. You don't talk loudly here. You don't run. You look up, and somehow you feel seen. Maori legends say Tane Mahuta was the god who separated earth and sky to let light into the world. So this tree doesn't just represent nature, it symbolizes creation itself. And because of its cultural and ecological importance, this tree has its own team of guardians, tasked with keeping it safe from disease and human harm. Visitors must disinfect their shoes before entering the forest. Paths are carefully maintained. No shortcuts, no touching. It's humbling to know that in a fast-paced world, a tree in New Zealand is treated with the kind of respect usually reserved for kings. Because here, nature isn't just admired, it's honored. Number 12, the town that smells like rotten eggs. And people love it. There's a town in New Zealand where the air smells like someone left 100 eggs out in the sun, and no one's in a hurry to leave. That town is Rotorua, famously known for its strong sulfur scent. But what might chase people away elsewhere is exactly what draws millions here. Because beneath that unmistakable rotten egg smell lies something truly extraordinary, one of the world's most active geothermal wonderlands. The earth here hisses, bubbles, steams, and roars. Mud pools gurgle like living soup. Geysers shoot skyward without warning. And hot springs offer natural spas in the most surreal settings imaginable. Rotorua feels alive, like the ground is breathing beneath your feet. But what makes this place truly magical is the harmony between its intense natural energy and its rich Maori culture. Locals have used the geothermal heat to cook food, bathe, and heal for generations. Traditional hangi meals are still cooked underground using thermal steam, infusing every bite with history. Cultural villages invite visitors not just to observe, but to participate with song, dance, and stories passed down for centuries. Yes, it smells. And yes, that smell stays in your clothes. But after a few hours, most people stop noticing it. They're too busy being enchanted by a place where the earth doesn't sit still, and where culture and geology dance together in the steam. Number 13, where you can walk through a real-life movie set and still believe in magic. In most countries, when the cameras stop rolling, the sets are taken down. But in New Zealand, one stayed and became a living fantasy. Hobbiton, the iconic village from The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films, wasn't just built for the screen. It was preserved, planted, and lovingly maintained so visitors could step into the story. Nestled in the lush hills of Matamata, this isn't a plastic theme park. It's a real place with flowers blooming, bees buzzing, laundry lines swaying gently in the breeze, and tiny round doors tucked into the hills. It feels like the hobbits could return at any moment. And that's the magic. People don't come here just because of the movies. They come because this place makes them feel like the world still has wonder in it. Tour guides here don't just explain, they perform. They share behind-the-scenes stories, but also let you imagine yourself as part of it all. You can drink ale at the Green Dragon Inn, walk across the iconic bridge, or just sit quietly in the grass and remember what it felt like to believe in adventure. In a world that often feels too fast, too real, too cynical, Hobbiton is a gentle reminder that fantasy doesn't have to stay on the screen. In New Zealand, it walks beside you, hidden in the hills, waiting to say hello. The town that changed its name to honor a cartoon hero. How many places in the world would rename themselves after a fictional character, just for fun? Well, welcome to Bulls, a small New Zealand town with a population of about 2,000 and a sense of humor as big as its name. This quirky little spot has embraced puns so passionately, it turned the entire town into a running joke, and a surprisingly wholesome tourist magnet. In Bulls, everything is bull-themed. The police station is Constable, the library is Readable, the town sign proudly reads, "Welcome to Bulls, a town like no other," and the souvenir shop? You guessed it, unforgettable. But it doesn't stop there. In 2021, the town even flirted with the idea of renaming itself Speedy Bulls in honor of the cartoon character Speedy Gonzales. Not everyone agreed, of course, but the point was never politics, it was personality. What makes Bulls so lovable isn't just the wordplay, it's that the people here have chosen joy. In a world full of seriousness, this town chose to laugh together, to lean into the absurd, and to make visitors smile before they even get out of their car. And that's rare. New Zealand doesn't just preserve nature, it preserves personality. And bulls proves that sometimes the most eccentric places are the ones most full of heart. Number 15. A country that granted a river the same legal rights as a person. In a world where natural wonders are often seen as resources to be used, New Zealand made history by doing something truly radical. It gave a river the same legal rights as a human being. That river is the Wanganui River, sacred to the Maori people, who see it not as a body of water, but as a living ancestor. In their words, "I am the river, and the river is me." After years of advocacy by local iwi tribes, the New Zealand government passed a groundbreaking law in 2017. The Wanganui River was officially recognized as a legal person, with rights to be protected and guardians to speak on its behalf. That means the river can sue, be sued, and be defended in court, just like any citizen. But more than law, it was a moment of deep respect. A nation choosing to listen to indigenous wisdom and honor the spiritual relationship between people and the land. This wasn't about politics. It was about belonging. About realizing that rivers aren't just water, they're stories. They carry the memory of generations, the rhythm of the land, the heartbeat of a people. Only in New Zealand could a river become a citizen, and only here could such a decision feel not strange, but right. Because in the world's most eccentric country, even nature is treated like family. New Zealand isn't just a place, it's a feeling. A wild, wonderful reminder that magic still exists if you just know where to look. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.